Hello, I'm Michael Fisher, and you're listening to the Scene World podcast.
Hello, it's the Scene World podcast. Hi guys, this time with Martin Ammann in the news section. Hi Martin.
Hi Jörg, that's me.
Yes, and in a minute, Jay and I will talk to Martin and Matthew from Uni Joy, Unithor, that are working on Uni Joy, which is an Amiga C64 and Atari joystick that is new and coming towards you via Kickstarter crowdfunding. And it's a project that probably especially Martin is fancied about, because they have something like force feedback on the Amiga.
This is so insane. I can't wait to play with it. Just imagine playing shooters on the Amiga with force feedback. That will be awesome.
Right. But before we talk to them, we have some news, and I only have two news here. And number one news would be that the t-shirt store Redbubble now offers a limited edition, a limited quantity of the 35 years anniversary by Faylight t-shirt. Who doesn't know them? They are very much known cracking / demo group from the 80s. And
a lot of childhood experience there, and I just visited the website, and I'm really excited for the t-shirts because hey, they've got it in my size. So what are you waiting for?
And speaking about the 80s, Limited Run Games announced that there will be a physical release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge coming to Switch, PlayStation 4 or Xbox. Okay. And they will be available for pre-order soon. And of course there will be a PC version, but not physical. That will just be a Steam digital release.
Okay. Nothing for collectors here. So
yes.
Is it a kind of compilation, or what is it?
No. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is a new game by .emu, and it is a classical style arcade game, like the arcade machine releases from Turtles back in the days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
So good. We have the Scene World news here. So
you didn't hear of that? Come on.
Well, should have, but
should. Yeah. Well. Okay. Yes. Well, that would be my two news items. So now I would say, let's jump to Poland and see what they are coming up with at the Joystick division, right?
Yes,
so,
right.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Today we have another guest, and this time we have Matthew and Martin from Uni Joy, and you are two guys from the team working on Unithor, the new joystick for retro computers, so like Atari, Amiga, Z64. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Usually we start in asking our guests how they got involved into retro computing and what happened that it led to finally working on a new joystick. I don't know who of you wants to start, but...
Go ahead. Okay, I will start maybe with some background. It all started in the 90s. And it started with Amiga 500. I always wanted to have C64, but it was a little bit late for C64. I got Amiga 500 just like that. Yes, so I bought 64, but after many years after the Amiga. And the Amiga was amazing computer. I learned a lot of stuff on the Amiga. You can learn, for example, graphic design, multimedia, some music composition, but only tried, never was good at this, and I throw it away. And yeah, the Amiga was the beginning of my computer adventure.
Okay.
Fascinating.
And how did it happen that now you are working on a joystick?
It's still the same. I have working Amiga 500, the next Amiga 1200. Me and we are playing a lot of Dyna Blaster game. And we started to run out of joysticks. We always like, for example, Topstar or Supercharger, but the joysticks are very expensive now. It's hard to find a good one in a good shape. As I'm a 3D designer, I had a talk. Maybe I could make a project of new one. So this is how it happens.
Okay. Yeah, you always get those joysticks that are rattly and stuff.
True. They are new produced Competition Pro, but they are not as good as the original quality.
I was never the fan of a Competition Pro like joystick or arcade stick. I always like the simulator like joystick.
Okay, I see.
With fire buttons.
Yes.
In the pointer, under the pointer finger, and I miss it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. So how did it start for you, Matthew?
It started pretty much the same, and in fact, it's connected to his story, because technically we are neighbors.
Oh, okay.
Since we were kids, we have known each other for 30 plus years. And one day, it was in the early 90s, he got an Amiga 500 borrowed from somewhere first. Doesn't matter from where. And I came to his place, I saw it, I saw the games, and what I could compare it to, it was falling in love. The difference was that it wasn't a girl, it was a machine. And I was really, brought me to my knees. I was really impressed by its graphics and sounds because I had previous exposure to Commodore 64. Of course, Commodore 64 is a great machine in its own, but it's still a previous generation. And I was really, really impressed, and I wanted it very badly. But it took some time, and for several months to come, I kept coming to his place, to play games. But eventually I got my own Amiga 500, and it started, with playing games, nothing particularly original. Over time, somehow I became interested in other stuff, and the first thing I tried was drawing with Deluxe Paint. And, the graphics I created, sucked.
Okay.
And it was hardly a success. And later I turned to tracking music. I got those notorious 6 discs of samples along with Noise Tracker. I remember all of them were infected with Saddam, and the virus spread to my other discs. But
the golden age.
Yeah. At first I just checked how other people created their tracks. I watched it and I tried messing with those tracks, and eventually I started making my own tracks. Of course, again, it sucked at first, but eventually it got a bit better. So then I turned to Pro Tracker, and then in later years it was DigiBooster and DigiBooster Pro. So my fascination with music continued for the entire 1990s. So that's pretty much my Amiga story. So, of course, eventually a PC arrived, but still its various models continue to be with me.
And there was, of course, a demo scene.
Yeah.
On the Amiga.
Yeah.
A lot of demo scene stuff.
Yeah, we tried that a bit as well. But nothing really spectacular, to be honest, but still. But we went to a
we have good memories of that time.
Yes.
Yeah, but what I find especially interesting is that in the later years, a lot of hardware design is coming from Poland. Previously, we had the guy from Poland that is working on new power supplies for the C64 and Amiga. And before there was somebody working on dust covers. So it's interesting to see that more and more hardware projects are coming out of Poland.
We also have the guy in Poland that does the labels. I've got one on my Enhancer 2000.
Exactly. It's interesting because in the past 10, 20 years, you mostly heard from Sweden or Czech Republic doing the IDE 64 controller and stuff. So it's interesting to see. So is that just that it became easier in Poland lately to make new hardware projects from ground up, or is that just coincidence that nowadays there are more and more hardware projects from Poland coming to light?
It's a difficult question because there were quite a few companies in the 90s. Well, they were resellers, distributors, and there was what was the company's name? Elbow. They produced some hardware for the Amiga. I think they still are on the market, though I'm not sure what they are doing.
Tower casings, for example.
The market was pretty strong from the very beginning. Do you guys remember the Amiga magazine?
I'm not an Amiga person. HA needs to know.
Which Amiga magazine?
It was called the Amiga magazine, just like that.
No,
anyway,
I know.
It was a German monthly, and its Polish version was launched in 1992. And just to give you an idea about the market size, I think in its best days, it sold 50,000 copies. So the market was in fact pretty big, of course, relatively poorer, but the user base was quite significant. In sheer numbers, I suppose it was more than Sweden.
And the spirit was strong.
Yes, and the spirit was strong, and perhaps the spirit is re-emerging now as the people matured and decided to do something for the platform they've known since they were kids.
And now there is a lot easier. You have, for example, 3D printers, which are available for, let's tell normal person. Yes, you can have this for low cost, even at good quality.
Oh yeah.
So there is a new window of possibilities there. It's
yeah.
Totally didn't think about that, but you're right. That's true. Yes. And so what's the starting point of designing a joystick? It reminds me a bit of the Quick Joy 3. At least.
Quick Joy 3? Quick Joy?
Yes. Yeah.
I will have to check this.
Because I think it looks like the Quick Joy 3 or the Quick Joy 2. There were different versions of the Quick Joy, but I have one that looks a bit like the Unithor.
Yeah, all joysticks kind of share a similar.
I know this joystick, but never had this one.
I had.
Matthew had this one,
but I didn't participate in designing the joystick. So
Okay.
Always liked the Topstar, for example. The Topstar was the iconic device and the design of Topstar was incredible. The transparent basement, the base, it was very cool. But Topstar was, for me personally, was too stiff.
Mm-hmm.
I like it always Supercharger. I like Gianna Scissors, for example. And right. Supercharger was better joystick for the platform games.
See, the platform games, I always felt like a D-pad was best for them. Like, I could never get into using the joystick for platformers. I was just so used to... My friend had a Sega, and my other friend had a Nintendo, so, like, I come back and I try to play platformers on the 64, and I'm like, no!
For me, joystick was... for this classic joystick. I call this classic joystick, but I suppose it depends... what what you were growing with.
True.
Yeah, so we were both actually exposed to this kind
So the question was, how did you go about designing it? So as I understood, you used what you know from other joysticks.
This rattly piece of crap is what I was stuck with from a young age.
By the design, we write the main points of the design. And the goal was joystick has to be sturdy, the solid one, quick one, which is on the other side of balance. If you have big mass, for example, the stick, it will take more, for example, force to move it, and it will take a little bit longer time to move it. It's very, very little, but it's noticeable on the certain games. We wanted to equalize, to balance the best, from our knowledge, the best points of other joysticks and put it in the one construction. We are testing it for over maybe 1.5 years, and time will tell if we succeed.
Now here's the killer question. You said at the beginning that the main reason you make a new joystick is that all your other joysticks broke. So how do you make sure that your joystick doesn't break? For example, if you play a decathlon or something.
Oh God!
You know,
I don't think it's possible.
Is a murder game for
I don't think it's possible to ensure that it won't break playing decathlon.
We already played decathlon and the bedroom Olympiads as well, and we are working on some kind of I don't know if Jarek lets tell me, but I will tell you in the secret. We are working on some kind of robotic arm, which will make a repetition and hardcore testing.
Quality control. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So it's basically it's just a robotic arm that just plays winter games constantly, just going like that.
And counts the samples of the steps.
Yeah, right.
Cycles.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Now we are testing joystick by ourselves. By what is important, children of our friends, they are very good. They are great testers. Believe me. We are also testing the joysticks on for example, parties like Pixel Heaven, Amiga meetings, and so on. When we show up, we have a bunch of joysticks, and everyone can try them and smash them.
So when you come into the room, people are like, the joysticks dudes are here, you know.
And yes, of course, we had improvements to make. Some of them was, for example, we made the iteration of the handle. It's 187 iteration of joystick handle for today. And basement iteration is 124 for today.
Wow. Okay. So I see it's not easy to make a new joystick from ground up. You have many tries.
Not all of this was printed, but I think every second or third was printed and then put together and tested.
There is a prime example where this failed, and this was the first version of the Z64 Mini, where
right here.
Exactly this
thing broke off halfway across. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, that was the first version. Was not very stable. Perhaps you heard about it. It broke into pieces.
I heard this joystick with 664. It has a little bit screw from underside, which is willing to screw off. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And some guys are shortening the threads.
Yeah.
Or put some Loctite.
Yes.
To seal this to prevent it from unscrewing.
Yeah. I think they also put a longer screw up in it just to give it extra, because I think the weak point was the thin part of the stick would snap.
Exactly.
So by putting a longer screw through that, it would stop it from breaking.
Exactly, and there's a DIY solution where people just put along through the whole handle, and that fixes it, of course. But of course, if you have a new joystick, you shouldn't have to fix it yourself. So here's the thing, though. You actually announced on your homepage that you said in a few months you are thinking about planning to start a Kickstarter. That means you are then collecting money to make production units out of the prototypes. What's the plan there?
Excuse me?
What's the plan? The only thing I could catch from the homepage is that, for example, you have force feedback, but it's only mentioning the Amiga. And
how does that work exactly, the force feedback? Because don't the games need to support that?
Yes, it's maybe the first question. We have to collect, the Kickstarter will help us to collect funds for the injection molds. And this is the biggest, I think, so after the calculations until now, this is the biggest step and the biggest costs to make an injection mold before production. And we have every part of the joystick need another injection mold. And this is the major first cost. It's a biggest investment. It's an injection mold.
Right.
Perhaps it's important to note that the joysticks we've produced so far were 3D printed, but for mass production, 3D printing doesn't, I suppose, make much sense.
Yes,
so we need to invest in injection molds.
People ask us if we can print the joystick for them. Yes, we could, but it's not very good because of costs. The price will be, for example, 4 or 5 times higher. 3D printing is relatively slow. The material costs a lot of money too. Our Windows 10 is upgrading.
Oh, lovely.
No problem. This is not live, so we can edit this out. Not an issue. Not an issue.
Okay. They are excellent at picking the worst moment.
Of course.
I have seen the DJ on the gig, and the Windows 10 was upgrading live.
Yeah.
So
Plus, the 3D printing doesn't offer quite the same. This is a very well printed cartridge, but you can see it's 3D printed. You can see the lines from the threads and stuff. It's not. You don't get the quality you get from injection molding.
It's not ideal. Where we are using 2 types of 3D printing. The first one was with the spaghetti.
Yeah, like this thing is. Yeah.
This one, and it was horrible. Now we are printing with the UV light and żywica, and the liquid, which is hardening under the UV light.
Right, like a resin.
And the resin, yes, of course, resin. And the quality is much better. It's, I think, about 500ths of the millimeter.
Okay.
The quality is very good. You can treat this by chemicals, which makes some kind of anti-aliasing, and some people told us that's a production model. No, I told that's from 3D printing. They say no, it's impossible. Yes, there is quite good, I think. But when you have injection mold, you can treat molds by chemicals. And you can make these little bumps if you wish. We are thinking the vast of joysticks the finish of joystick will be matte, black matte. For example, fingerprints. When you have a shiny one, you can see every fingerprint or oil or something. And when you have matte, it's a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually true. A lot of devices nowadays have glossy piano look or whatever, and it's awful because you constantly see fingerprints.
Yeah,
and about
someone else's hand grease.
Exactly, and actually about the production quality. I saw the jump video on your YouTube and some photos on your homepage. It looks really awesome, despite it's the 3D printed. I couldn't say by
Yeah.
its looks that it was 3D printed. Really cool already, I have to say.
Thank you.
But I see you are a product designer. It's probably easy for you. You know what you are doing.
You were asking about the force feedback in the joystick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a long story, with the liquids involved. So there was an idea with the Amiga computer, if it's possible to have the signal to the other side, because always everyone just reads the DB9 port and looking for inputs. So we started to think, is it possible to make it another way? The first, it was jokes, simply jokes. But we started to think about it, and I think Jarek found old manuals for the Amiga computer, and there was on the certain line, as I remember, there was line 9 and line 5. The signal was used by Amiga, for example, checking how much buttons the device, how much buttons are in use. The coincidence is the Kefir, the maker of the jump, is our neighbor by another town.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yes, and before Kefir there was another programmer, UN. UN is from the Krakow, and Kefir is from the Radom. And the boys was working together on the procedure to make the call from Amiga to the port, to put the 5-volt there, the signal there. So the first was the simple routine, and then the Kefir implemented it into his game.
So you reused a different line that was originally intended to detect how many buttons your joystick has, and use it to send in force feedback signals instead.
Yes.
Interesting. And here's the thing, though. Many people don't know that even the C64 has 2 buttons.
Yeah.
There's only one game on the C64 that has support for 2 buttons, and that is Chase HQ2. Because that is available in a version for the Commodore 64 Game Station, and this Game Station joystick has 2 separated buttons. So I wonder, does your joystick support? Yes.
Yes. Yes. We tested it with the Bomberland, and the Bomberland supports up to 4 joysticks, 2 natively by ports. And 2 by interface. And it supports second button, for example, to activate the bomb in the game, to go, as I remember, to main menu or to pause the game. So I was surprised that C64 actually understands 2-button joystick.
Like I said, it's not known to most people that there is just one game and one joystick doing 2 buttons. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it never has been done ever since. So if that joystick broke, you can't play the game anymore because the second button is for boost. So basically, if the joystick breaks, you can't play the game on the game station anymore. So that means your joystick will be the first one ever since the 80s to support the second button. That's amazing.
Cool. Yeah. It's cool. We had a lot of testing with the Turricane on the Amiga, and the Turricane is using second button or both buttons at the same time. You put the shields, the waves by second button, and when you press 2 buttons, it makes chaos on the screen. It's a very cool. You don't have to reach the keyboard anymore.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
actually true. The Amiga used the second button more than the C64, actually, yes. But here's the thing, though. Force feedback, as I know it, is mostly on the PC, at least, for analog joystick. So how does it work for... I guess your joystick, I saw in the video, of course, is digital. So you have those micro switches. So I guess the force feedback has to be, in a way, different, because...
Well, it's just a little motor that would...
Yes.
Yeah,
this is-
but it's different because in analog you don't have buttons you press. You have a dial switch.
Yes, the joystick is digital, so it's on or off. It's simple, but we prefer to use the name kickback, not force feedback, but kickback, because it's inside the joystick. It's a motor, which make like in gamepads for Sony PlayStation. You can just feel the vibration from the game. For example, when you play, it's not a feedback like in the steering wheel. No, it's a motor with vibrations. When something is on the screen, for example, collision, you can feel that in your hands.
So it's like the rumble pack you have for newer consoles, for example.
Right.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Otherwise, if it was moving like force feedback, you would accidentally enable the other switch and it would go in the wrong direction. Of course, that wouldn't work.
Yes,
Interesting.
That's why we call this kickback. And the other feature supported by LEDs, we call flashback.
So you also have a visual feedback, not only a vibration feedback.
One more time, please.
You also have visual feedback. The LEDs change based on what the game wants. So we only spoke about the Amiga, but do those two features also work on the Atari and the C64?
On the every computer we were checking about solutions, because on the Amiga for us is the easiest. We know Amiga better than other platforms, and it was for us natural to make it for Amiga. But we are talking with Atari fans, C64 fans, and I think the easiest way will be on the Atari ST. But as far as I know, on C64 there is possible to use it, but in a little bit simple way.
Now there's a USB version as well. There's the DB9 and USB. Will the USB work on regular PC, Mac, stuff like that, or is that specifically for the 64 Mini or whatever?
We have tested this with the ordinary PC. It's a daily basis. We have tested this with C64 Mini.
Okay.
But you have to make some firmware upgrade in the firmware. Yes.
Right.
Of the Mini.
Of the Mini, yes.
Yeah, I imagine because the Mini's got so many buttons on the thing because it doesn't have any physical keys or anything, so you have to rely on that. It'll probably work better on the Maxi, I would imagine, because you got a keyboard.
But I guess you are in touch with Darren Mayburn on getting it working with the C64 Mini.
We haven't spoke yet.
You should, because.
And here's just the guy to get you in touch.
Okay.
Yes, if you need his contact info, I can give it to you if you need it.
Great.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
It will be cool.
Yeah. Because the thing is, even I got some mini devices, basically because there's also a big 20, and I was like, wow, that's cool. Of course, having it working with the mini and the big version, that would be great. But I'm very happy to hear that you are working on solutions even on the Atari and the C64. So that means doesn't matter what kind of customer you are, you can still use all features. That means also you have to speak to Cytronic and Protovision and so on to implement the feature in their C64 games and their Amiga games and stuff coming forward, so that more and more games will support this.
Yes, I can tell by today there are about I think three developers which are working with us on the new games.
Wow. Okay.
Using the special functions of the Unithor.
Okay, that means when the Kickstarter finally started and the product is shipped, there will be games out of the box supporting the visual and vibration feature. That's really amazing. So you really thought about everything. It's great.
People say we are moving slow, but we want to have everything polished before we make a next step. We have to be sure it will be the best solution available, possible. So as I said, we move slow, but we go there. Yes, we go there, but we have maybe a little bit too much ideas, and we there's a creative way of chaos, and we have to put it in our schedule.
Obviously, yes, needs to be shelved for perhaps a later time. Perhaps we will work on them in the future, but we realize that there are certain compromises to be made so that we don't end up making it more and more sophisticated forever. Because it has to just go into production at one point.
Yeah.
I guess at some point, even the DSUB 9 version can be firmware updated in the future. So if you make updates to the features of the joystick, people can still.
I think he's talking more about feature creep.
Understood. Certain features they are stuck because it's in the hardware design. But on the software side, I guess you can still implement certain changes to the joystick afterwards, even if it's already.
I have some hard talking with the Jarek. Jarek is a kind of a geek guy, and for him he wants to something it have to work, and I say it have to work, but it have to be nice. It have to be. I don't want this joystick to have 12 buttons. The gamepads are already there. There is no point. Right. But at this point, we are looking, for example, a nice way to enable auto fire or rapid fire. And the best way, like Elon Musk said, the best part is no part. If you make it simple but yet elegant, there is less to break, for example. But you still need this functionality, and you are searching the best way to optimize this. We are looking for auto fire, and I said I don't want more buttons. So we are searching, maybe we tried a certain way of pushing the buttons, combination of the buttons to enable this. Yes, it will be nice, but certain games use this and for our features, and then you cannot activate auto fire because your game is ruined.
Yeah, imagine playing Street Fighter and suddenly you are hitting the
stuck in auto fire.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. Yeah. True. Yes, you're right. Most traditional joystick just use a switch. I remember one of the most common faults of the competition Pro, the Pro version, the latest Pro version. It had a 3 ways: on auto fire, off auto fire, and slow motion. And sometimes you accidentally enable slow motion, and then you would wonder why your figurine doesn't move. So I totally understand the problem here. Or especially on the Commodore 64, if you enable auto fire on port 1, the keyboard is blocked because the keyboard and the joysticks are on the same chip on the computer. So I see the problem here is, and actually what most people don't know. But nowadays it is known, but back then it wasn't known. If you have a Mega Drive gamepad and hit buttons in a certain way, you can actually fry your Commodore 64.
Genesis.
So you even have to be careful about that. So,
well, they make adapters for that, so that doesn't happen.
Right. Actually, like 12 years ago, I got a C64 that was broken that way. Somebody used a Mega Drive gamepad,
That's what I
and
use.
it broke.
That's why I use this thing for the 64.
I have that too. Yes.
They're very nice.
But yeah,
Stuck
but it
underneath
also
a ton of things on my floor for some reason.
but it also has 2 buttons, and the second button is just space key or something.
Really?
Not really.
Really?
Independent. Yeah.
Because I thought Sam's Journey used the buttons correctly.
I don't know. I never tried it with Sam's Journey.
Yeah, because this is the only thing I can play that damn game with. Because Sam's Journey is another platformer where you got to.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so what else can you tell us about the joystick? What else is planned?
More buttons. We plan, I think, 6 buttons would be enough to play classic games and to play on the C64 Maxi or Mini. You don't need the standard joystick then. You can use additional buttons.
You're making like a universal joystick that'll work with pretty much
Yes.
anything at this point.
We are testing in the next week. I suppose it will be new content from us on the YouTube. We are testing Unithor on the modern games as well. There are a lot of pixel art game, like retro look-like game,
Yeah, right.
and we are searching for VSAD alternative for this game. Currently, we are working on the suction cups. We have a very good grip under the joystick. The joystick weighs about half kilogram, and it's very stable on the table. But some people ask us about the suction cups, so we made it. But we made it. I had thought if we put suction cups, I want the best solution ever. So I want suction cups and bumpers.
Yeah. Because
you
my
have-
desk is not smooth at all. Suction cups will not work on this mess.
Suction cups the best work in the kitchen.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Or in the bathroom on the tiles.
Yeah, I've never understood the suction cup thing because it's like people are like, yeah, I want suction cups. It's like, what are you playing on? Most desks are wood, and they're not. Is your desk linoleum?
My grandfather loved suction cups. He always had on the desk he had a glass.
Oh,
plate.
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
And-
Well, what was
and
holding
he
the glass plate down?
Yeah, forced, because the computer and all the stuff was on the glass plate.
Oh,
so it was
okay.
forced.
So
And of course, there to Decathlon and so on, the suction cups would always disconnect.
shatter
So
the glass.
he would
Giant
always
mess all over the place.
So he would always use super glue and gluing them back to the joystick.
We made it another way. We made it. The suction cups are screwed in.
Oh, okay.
You can remove the rubbers are holding the hole.
Covering the hole.
They're covering
Yeah, right.
the hole, and you can remove them, and then screw in suction cup.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
nice. Okay.
Cool. That
And
is
so
awesome.
no super glue.
That is
No
awesome.
And when you have enough of suction cup and saliva everywhere,
Yeah.
you can unscrew and put the rubbers. There are good rubbers. You can put them back.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Interesting. So no glue solution. Yeah.
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 Yeah, because I was going to say, I've never had a desk that was smooth enough. Like, I had a thing with suction cups, and it was just kind of, it was floppy on my desk because I couldn't get it to stay down, and it used to drive me. It was you know what, it was you got to help me with this. It was the yoke, the flight yoke, the Zoomer or something.
Oh, I have it. I own it too, but
Yeah,
I don't,
you know what
I
I'm
don't
talking
remember.
about.
I don't remember.
It's got four
name.
suction cups, so I try to stick it on my desk, but my desk is wood. And it's not smooth, and so it's like, all right, I try to lift off, and the whole joystick just goes.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember. I know what joysticks you have, but I don't know its name.
I think it was the.
But
Zoomer.
yeah.
We was trying very crazy ways. For example, we tried the magnets, neodymium magnets.
Ooh.
So if you have, for example, a nice metal surface, for example, our Uni Joy pad, and you can put the joystick. It sticks to this pad. It's some like the glass you mentioned before.
Yeah.
So there was brainstorming how to do this the best.
Just don't get your discs anywhere near it.
That's
Yes,
my
yes.
problem. That is my problem.
So there is the first there is idea, then brilliant idea, and then there was the bad idea.
You can play your new game only once.
But you can play special effects on the CRT monitors.
That also, yes.
I used to have an 1802 monitor that had fallen off a truck or something, so the lower left corner was always discolored. And I had an old speaker that had a powerful magnet in it, and whenever I turn on the computer, I'd always have to take that thing and just run it down like the left side of the screen, and it would pull the weird color out of the way.
Yeah, demagnetizing.
Yeah, I had that thing for years.
was a
Always had to
thing
do that.
back
You
then.
turn it on, you have to run the magnet down to get the purple blotch out.
Yeah. That means the demagnetizing mechanism didn't work anymore. Okay.
Yeah, it had fallen off a table or a truck or something.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
it had been busted, but it was cheap.
Anyway, we only spoke about computers. How about game consoles? The Master System and the Mega Drive use the same plug.
Oh yeah.
I know Jarek Jarek checked these systems, but for today we will take a look for the systems, but for today our goal is mainstream computers. But
Okay.
but
Well, the Master System was the Master System controllers were compatible with the 64, so I would imagine it would be backwards compatible.
Yes, but
There was an
it
extra
had
button.
But it had more than one button.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
of course, it has to take into account. And the Master System and the Mega Drive had a 3-button
That
and
was
the
a whole
6-button
different animal.
version.
Yeah, that was a whole different animal.
Yeah. So that's
I think someone asked us about Mega Drive, but yes, only one button was available for this, and so answer will be yes. But the wire of the joystick will be made another way inside the joystick, because we want to produce as well independent buttons or repeatable buttons. The same button up and under the thumb and under the pointing finger. It's a preference of the people. So someone different ways of playing.
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that means for now you don't support the game consoles, but that should be perhaps a thing for down the road in the future.
Yes, definitely. But like I say, we are focused now on the retro computer systems.
True. So I don't know, is it really like you have to change the wire completely, or I don't know if you can answer that, but I wonder, can't you just make a software switch and then the consoles know which buttons are where? I don't know. Probably I'm totally mistaken, but
now we are calling this one joystick will be basic. It's a pure mechanical joystick. It's a very fast, direct computer joystick. The switches, nothing else but auto fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will be, we call this assembler version. And it will be a version with the electronics. And you can make the configuration. For example, I want to play 2 or 3 another different buttons, or I want to have the auto fire repetition 100 hertz or something. You can make them presets and choose them.
so you are planning on offering several versions of the joystick itself?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. One is the pro version for all the nerds who want to program everything, and the one is for the basic user that just wants to use it on their computers.
And both of the version will be available with DBA9 or DB9. It's the same, a different name.
I believe it's the same.
Or USB version.
That means you can buy 4 joysticks, basically. One version with each cable.
Even more, because it will be, we think how to do this to be easy to understand for the customer, because we have a lot of stuff that we can put inside the joystick. So I think that there will be the basic one, and then you have the options for customization.
Ah, so you can buy
Okay,
like
okay.
packages. Okay.
Yes. So, for example, you buy the basic version. You can choose the USB or DB9. Then you can choose. I want suction cups or I want the rubbers.
Yeah.
And then you can choose. I want the LEDs. I want independent fire buttons. I want the force feedback. I want another more stiff joystick also.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
You ask for even another coating of the stick. We are thinking about rubbering the stick, but I cannot tell much more for now.
Oh, sure. You don't have to spill out the secrets.
Yes.
No problem here. Of course.
You can sign me up for it anyway, though, because I'm tired of this stupid thing.
So that means basically, in the Kickstarter, people can configure their joystick the way they want it.
I don't know if Kickstarter allow this.
It'll probably
yes,
it'll probably
it
be when
does.
it goes to sale. So
It actually has something called add-ons. So you can have a base product and then add-ons, suction cups or whatever. Yes, well, so that's wonderful. So now the question remains to be asked: when do you plan to start your Kickstarter?
This spring.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 days ago
Pretty
was the
rough.
first day of spring, so that's like pretty soon.
This spring, we would like to synchronize Kickstarter with one gig in one computer gig. I cannot tell now.
Okay.
But we want to synchronize
Certain
events.
things.
Okay. Cut one more time. Okay. Off the record, not on the thing, because if you're looking for a specific date to start it, we can release the podcast right around that time to draw attention
wow.
to it. Yeah.
We will let you know.
Okay.
We'll let you know. I will speak with Jarek,
Okay.
and we will let you know.
Okay.
For sure.
Awesome.
Just to be sure, are we talking about weeks or months or not months? Is it sooner?
I don't think
than
spring is that long.
It's months.
Months. Oh, okay.
months?
Okay.
Really? Okay. Because on your homepage, I saw a remark saying between 2 and 3 months.
That's still months.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
so
so-
we are holding this off until you tell us release it
Yeah,
next week
yeah.
or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll put this
Okay,
on the.
great.
Then of course send along the URL of the Kickstarter, and then we'll make sure to push people toward the Kickstarter. And of course I want to order one myself. So
Great. It will be cool.
Where can people go to find out about your project and support it and follow along at home? Like a website.
homepage.
Okay, so we have the homepage, we have the Facebook page, and we have
and
the
YouTube.
YouTube channel.
We
Awesome.
have also Twitter, but Twitter is under development.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are the three basic places where you could just follow how we are doing.
We was for a long time we was focused on the joystick itself.
Mhm.
So now we have to catch up with the social medias.
Okay. We'll put links to all the sites and everything in the podcast description so people can follow along.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yes.
I wanted to say it's cool because in the last 20 years people were just getting licenses of past gamepads or joysticks and reproducing them in worse quality. And now having a team making something from ground up that is groundbreaking
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
something that has never been done before is amazing. And I want to stress the fact that you really thought about the second button support is amazing, because most people are like, second button? I thought it's all the same. No, it's not.
I was always thinking, why the second button is the same like the first button? I never
Yes.
understand. I can tell you this for now. The computer supports third button already.
Oh, I
We are
didn't know that.
testing
Okay.
A lot of there are not a lot of old games which support this, but you can use VHD load. It's a software which helps to run old games on new computer, for example, Amiga 4000 or something, with Motorola
40 or something.
6A0060.
Yeah.
And you can run this, but VHD load also make games better because you have more configuration for game.
Mm-hmm.
You can use additional buttons. You can run the game, for example, in NTSC or PAL, or there's a lot of options.
Yeah, you can also load it off a hard drive and all that other stuff.
So we would like to support VHD load as well. So not only the new games will support us and we support new games, but also we would like to make the old games better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet.
For the rest, there is this cracking group, the cracking group scene that improve games like IDE patches and so on.
Are they cracking groups anymore, or are they just like improving groups? Because what
yeah,
is there to crack anymore? Honestly,
No cracking groups.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
How they call themselves golden cracks.
Yes,
you know?
yes, golden cracks.
Golden cracking groups. Yeah, nice.
We have some show off for you. We can show you the prototype.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
It will be a little tour.
Sure.
Unexpected. Oh,
Wow. Awesome.
yeah.
There's my cave.
Very nice.
And
Very
here
nice.
This is 64. It's an Amiga.
You got a 1200. Beautiful.
It's a jump. And this joystick is with section caps and the flashback function.
Wow.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
I'll show you a moment.
Uh-huh.
Przytrzymasz? O.
That is cool.
That's amazing.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
Unfortunately, the sound is turned off, but
Yeah,
still.
we can
okay.
play the sound as well.
Amazing. Yeah. Wonderful.
That is awesome.
So we have also the another C64.
The 64C.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay, it's just
That is awesome.
a little tour.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot. Amazing.
that is excellent.
I'm really looking forward to this joystick. That's like the product of the year or something.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Wow. Perhaps one final question: Do you plan to make it as a production line in the future, or is that an Kickstarter exclusive?
No, it will be on the production.
Wow. Okay. So
Awesome.
So it will be available for a long time. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yes, we plan to, if you have micro switches or something, you can always replace. We want to make it possible to be easy to.
Right to repair. Yes.
We would like to offer new stuff for this joystick. It's, I think, in the perfect world, the Kickstarter will be only the beginning of the project.
Yeah, so it's
Awesome.
meant just to be a shot in the arm, and then we want to just continue beyond Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That's great because a lot of crowdfunding ends after the crowdfunding, and that would be so sad for a product like this.
Yeah, well,
where
just
you
judging
have-
by what we just saw, that has legs way beyond the Kickstarter. That thing can
Yes,
go on and on.
definitely.
We would like to develop this to make it. We would like to reborn joystick.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Yes.
in the new way, in the new shape.
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
how things go during Kickstarter and how the joystick sells and what the feedback is would provide us some information where we should go next. So we consider this to be just the first step when we get a feeling of what most people want, or in general what people want. Of course, we have an idea already, but we just need to refine this information in a way.
We have a lot of concepts or a lot of works under construction. People will choose what to put in the final version, production version.
Okay, sure.
So
Right,
we'll make the stretch goals. So people can choose, do you want 3 buttons, 4 buttons, 5 buttons,
Yeah.
No,
Nothing
20
but buttons. It's just
don't
buttons.
anymore.
It's just buttons. Yeah, it's just a pile of buttons.
Yes, but 6 buttons are, for example, for CD32.
Right.
CD32 works with 6 buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, those controllers are super expensive and super crappy.
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah. Those things are awful.
For example, you can play maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks a lot, guys. Wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Keep in touch.
Yes.
Have a good night.
All right,
there.
thank you, sir.
You too. See you.
Yep.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.